Hello and welcome back to the channel. So if you're new here, I'm Moz.
And I'm Sariha.
And we bought a new build property almost 2 years ago. So we thought we'd do a bit of a story time on how we purchased this £450,000 house.
And I think this might be helpful to the people who are in similar situations to us. So hopefully you learn something, and it'd be really nice for us to reminisce as well.
Exactly, and it's not that daunting. It was actually all right. If you can do it, I'm sure anyone can do it.
Yeah, exactly. So we got married in August 2022, and we thought, it'd be a cute date night to go and visit houses. And honestly, it was a decision that actually changed our life because we bought a house sooner than we thought. So do you remember our first house viewing?
I think it was actually on this development, right? And they were actually a famous YouTuber.
Yeah.
And I remember going into the house and I saw the plaque. I was 100,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
What are you doing leaving here?
Maybe we should tag them.
We saw their house and we wanted a slightly different style of house.
Yeah.
But we then realized that the whole development was still being built, so we could just buy a brand new house
and make it our own as well. So basically that day the sales office was closed. So we had to come back, and in that time of coming back, which is only a couple of days, we went to see another house which was a new build but was older, which basically cemented the idea of we wanted a detached house, we wanted a 4-bedroom. And when we walked in on the sales office, proper happy, proper giddy, it just felt like we were a bit of a fraud. I felt like a bit of a fraud because you walk in and you think, am I in the right position to buy a house?
The price was quite ridiculous, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And house prices were just kept going up.
And the interest rate.
The interest rate was ridiculously high. At this point, we didn't know what the interest rate was.
No, we didn't. We were just like, let's buy a house. We know we can afford it. And when we got sold on this house, we're like, okay, what do we do? And then we started going to other developments, seeing the same house type, and also getting an idea of how the way people decorate. Obviously, the interior designers, they make it seem so luxurious. A house does not look like that. And
that's the thing, because when you look at a showroom, it's all done up.
Yeah.
And then when you actually get into the house, it's just blank.
I obviously went on a mad Instagram search.
Checking out.
Yeah, to find a house type, to see what actual people have done with the house.
And that's just one thing. Like, buying the house is the first task, and then actually buying everything in the house is a whole another ordeal, isn't it? One thing we did was get a mortgage advisor, and that kind of solidified that we can get 4.5 times our salary.
Getting a mortgage advisor really helped us actually vision it long term, I think.
It made it real that we can actually afford the house. Then we ended up getting a mortgage in principle, and it had it written down that you can borrow X amount.
Yeah.
And then we were like, oh God.
This is real.
We can do this.
And I think with the mortgage advisor, I think she made us think about lots of situations. It helped someone say, this is what bills cost, this is what you should be thinking about, this is how much it costs to furnish a house. Is your circumstances going to change? Are you going to change jobs? Are you going to take pay cuts?
That was quite a scary moment, because then they start talking about life insurance.
Then they start talking about death.
Yeah, death. They talk about death, so then they sell you the life insurance and the critical illness insurance, which we did end up getting because, if one of us does stop working, then how are we going to afford the house?
It's all about being smart about it. You don't want to also spend 4.5 times your salary as well. You want to have a buffer. You want to enjoy your life and go on holidays and things like that. I had a LISA account for 6-7 years.
Oh, this is a mad one actually, because I had a help to buy ISA originally.
Yeah.
And then this is pretty much like right at the beginning when we started talking and we kind of knew that we were going to get married. We just like had a random finance conversation.
Yeah.
And then we were like, house prices are so high. If we buy a house together, it's going to be more than 250,000.
Yeah.
So I can't use my help to buy ISA, so I need to swap it out for a lifetime ISA, and I just switched it. And
you know what? It worked out so perfectly because he switched it back in November 2021, and in November 2022, around that time, October, November, we reserved it. So the LISA can kick in.
Yeah, so you need to have the LISA account open for 1 year to be able to use it. So I had it pretty much bang on 1 year.
Do you remember the process of getting this specific house?
Oh, it's a bit of a nightmare. I remember this situation.
Yeah.
A bit stressful.
I was obsessed. I really wanted this house. And honestly, I didn't think this house would get released as quickly as it did.
That was the thing. So basically, we saw the house. We knew we wanted to buy this type of house. but it wasn't available to buy because they hadn't released it yet. So you have to wait for them to release it on their website, call them up and say, we want to buy this house.
So I was checking every single day. I'd wake up for work, I'd check, and then, oh, it's not released. Okay, fine. One day I checked in the morning, and then 2 hours later I checked again and it's been released. So we called them straight away saying, hello, we want to reserve this Cutler house. And they said, oh, that got reserved within a few minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
A few minutes of being released. So obviously I was devastated because this house was going to get released and then we don't know when the next batch was going to get released. So we could be potentially waiting a year for the next batch.
At that point, I remember it was about a few weeks at that point, and we were like, if it got sold out within minutes, when the next house gets released, what the chance of us getting the house?
Bearing in mind, there's only about 5 or 6 of this house type in this whole development. So I basically made a comment saying, if their mortgage falls through and they can't buy it, don't put it back on the market, just give me a call. And honestly, the reason I made that comment was because the interest rate was so high then.
Yeah, it was hopeful. It was very hopeful.
It was very hopeful.
And it is pretty bad to say that as well.
I felt a bit, obviously, oh gosh, I'm literally praying for someone's downfall. But I also knew that the interest rate was 5.6% at the time.
At the time, yeah, interest rate kept going up. It was a ridiculous time to be buying a house.
Yeah. So I made that comment. I didn't think much of it. I was a bit devastated. And then a couple of weeks later, we're in Somerset. So that is literally 3 or 4 hours away from Manchester. And I'm sat there and I get a call during work hours. And I'm like, oh, who could that be? Picked up. Thank gosh I picked it up. So I picked it up and someone said, oh, okay, the sales office, that sale fell through. Do you want the house? And I was sat there thinking,
So what the hell?
What the hell? And bearing in mind, this plot is the one I really wanted because it had the bigger garden and everything like that. So it was like the perfect thing. And we also knew, which is the crazy thing, and alhamdulillah worked out for us. So they obviously released this house for 445, so not 450, 445,000. The next batch, because it's so sought after, they will raise the price for it. So imagine paying more for a house that you know is exactly the same size, everything.
So we actually do know, because obviously it's 2 years later, that they increased the house, the next house that got sold, by £13,000. So that made it over the £450,000 limit. So if we waited for the next house, we wouldn't have been able to actually buy it because our deposits would have been locked in the lifetime ISA and we wouldn't be able to use it because the house is more than £450,000.
We would have been able to use it, but we wouldn't have got the benefit of the government bonus.
Yeah, which is basically pointless.
It's pointless. So honestly, we got so lucky with it. And because we were in Somerset, we had to come back to the sales office to reserve it face to face because you have to show ID, you have to show your mortgage in principle and things like that. So we left everything. We left work. We were like, okay, we're going back to Manchester. We came back and we reserved it.
I'm sure she was like, take it now, otherwise we're going to put it back on the market.
Honestly, it was such a beautiful moment, I think, especially when we came in and the sales office lady, we got quite close with her because we used to come and view the show homes all the time and things like that. And she basically had all the documents ready. We got to take some pictures and, put our little sticker on the map to say reserved. And honestly, it was really nice. And then obviously sending the videos to our parents and families and just saying, we reserved it, we got this house. So this led to this huge process that we had to go through. It wasn't a bad process. So once we reserved the house, the sales office actually gave us details of law firms that they use, and obviously those law firms will have the documents. They want to know exactly what to do with this development because they've done so many. So we went with one of the law firms. They weren't expensive at all, really, and they were really good.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah. They literally just took everything on. They said, okay, we're going to email you on this time. This is what you're going to do. This is the process. And it was just very smooth. I know people make it seem like it's so difficult. It is important to choose the right law firm because you don't want to be chasing those law firms for it. But yeah, we did that.
It's quite easy. Contacted our banks as well, let them know that we're going to be buying a house to release the funds. So the other worry was because their house fell through, interest rates were skyrocketing. Would we be able to get the house? So then we contacted our mortgage advisor and then we went through the whole thing again. And at this point, the interest rate was 5.6%.
Yeah.
And alhamdulillah, thankfully, we could still afford it.
Yeah.
Which was a bit mad. A lot of money was going to be going on the house every month. But we were like, we just need to do it right now.
So once we reserved, we decided to sit down, talk about our finances. We just created a budget, didn't we? We created how much we'd want to spend in furnishing the home, which I think we set for 25 to 30,000. We wanted to furnish the whole house. and we thought, okay, what is the sensible thing to do? So Rohan actually moved into my apartment, which I was renting once we got married. But we thought, why should we pay for rent, which was, I think, £1,000 or something, which isn't as much if you think about how much we're paying for the mortgage, but it obviously meant good savings. So we decided to move back to your parents' home.
Yeah. So when we reserved the house, they said it was going to be about 6 months before the house was ready for us to move in. So we made the decision to move back in with my parents for about 6 months to save money for us to buy furniture and any other expenses that may, creep in.
So I had to pack up, 7 years worth of stuff into Rohan's car at the time.
Fiat 500.
Actually, we got Afa, so we got Rohan's sister.
Yeah, we did a few journeys with Fiat 500.
Yeah.
And then we were like, I can do one more trip if I get the Golf, which isn't much bigger. But yeah, then we got the Golf down and then drove everything
Just
back.
packed everything in. And I think it was such a good process anyways, because it meant that I got to actually spend time with my in-laws more, get to know them. And it was Ramadan.
Yeah, that was nice.
So we spent Ramadan with them as well, which was really nice.
So when we moved to Sheffield, we had so much time, so many weekends to go shopping for the house. Even though the house wasn't built yet, we could delay the delivery. So that was quite nice. And we just went and looked at sofas and stuff like that. And they always say buying sofas is the longest thing because they take weeks, like months.
It takes 8 weeks for delivery. And beds as well. You don't want to be in a house where you're sleeping on the floor for a long period of time. So we started shopping like crazy. We were so on it. Do you remember?
I know, we were buying. I remember the flooring.
Not even buying, how many shops we went to.
Oh, we went to every shop because, of course, we wanted to make sure that we're just buying once. We don't want to buy twice and get it replaced and stuff like that. So we made sure we did all of our research on literally everything.
We went to so many different outlets, developments, retail parks, so many different areas just to see. And even our sofa, for example, we shopped in Sheffield, but where did we buy a sofa from?
In London.
Because even no matter where we were going, we thought we'd have to stop into a shop to see it. And it worked out the best because with our sofa, we went to the same company in other places and they don't offer customizing fabrics and things like that. But that specific one in London allows customizing things. So we got really lucky there.
From everything that we purchased, I actually don't regret anything. I was so surprised because we're not even in the house and we're just buying things from memory because we buy something from one place and then try and remember what it looked like to match the next thing with it.
And do you remember what we did though? So we had the
carpet piece.
No, the room plan app.
Oh yeah, we had the room plan app to make sure that everything fits. Because what if we bought something and it doesn't even fit in the room?
And our living room is very cozy, and we bought the biggest sofa. It takes up so much room. So we use this room plan app to actually get the measurements and putting it in, and I don't regret it. It fits perfectly.
And the other thing, I remember we got that sample piece off the carpet, and wherever we just had it in the car, wherever we went, we were just comparing everything to this carpet colour.
Yeah.
And it worked out perfect, didn't it?
It worked out perfect. And remember what happened with Carpet-Rite?
Oh yeah, that was a bit of a crazy one. So long story short, Carpet-Rite just charged an extortionate amount, and another local carpet fitter got the exact same carpet that Carpet-Rite did for like 20% discount.
So before we bought the house, we already bought our dining table, our sofa, our carpet was done, our flooring was chosen, our blinds were sorted, because we've heard stories where people come into a house and they can't sleep because light is coming in, and we didn't want to put temporary IKEA.
We've seen like around the development people have a newspaper like on the window at the beginning.
We were like, nope, we're gonna walk in, and honestly it worked out so well for us because we had all of the main furniture chosen. It was all in a spreadsheet, and all we had to do, for example, with the IKEA things, did we order the IKEA early?
We ordered everything. We had everything ready, and the mad thing is we had a budget of what, 25,000.
Yeah.
I think we ended up spending about 40,000.
No, we didn't.
It was about 40,000.
Is it?
It's ridiculous.
Okay, we went a bit overboard. But the best thing about moving into Sheffield was we had no cost. Like, alhamdulillah, in-laws paid for everything. Obviously, they fed us and everything like that. No rent, nothing. We were saving money. Yeah. Like, that's the most money we've probably ever have.
Now everything just goes on the mortgage, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And then basically we had to come back, didn't we, in February for the hard hat visit. When we bought the house, we didn't even know where the plot is going to be. That area where our house was meant to be was cordoned off, so we can't even go and see it. The hard hat visit was essentially concrete house. There was wooden beams everywhere. There was no walls. You're walking around and you're thinking, this looks small. This doesn't look right. Because you can't visualize it at that point, can you?
Yeah.
So once we reserved the house, after a couple of months, because we didn't have long until completion date, we were able to choose upgrades. So we came back into the development and into the sales office, and honestly, it was quite overwhelming, wasn't it?
They have like so many options there, from like full tiles on the bathrooms to wardrobes to carpet choices to kitchen worktop to kitchen cabinets, plug sockets, lights. There's just so many things to choose, and everything was expensive. It wasn't just like, getting your local builder. Everything was double or triple the price.
Yeah, and as well, you had to be smart about it. Some developers include certain things without an upgrade or an additional amount that you're paying, which is what we obviously went for. We don't want to spend too much. So for our kitchen worktop and counters, did we upgrade? I think for the cupboards we did.
Cupboards we got to the gold standard because we had a look at the standard package that they were going to give us, and it wasn't much more for the gold package.
We wanted to get the shaker style, and even with the worktop, I think we didn't pay extra for, because it was laminate, whatever. And then looking at tiles for bathrooms was so much, because obviously you're looking at the tiles in a certain light in that sales office. You don't know what it's going to look like in a whole room. So honestly, we spent ages. I think we came back 2 or 3 weekends to look at things and decide. Even though we're saying there's so many options, there actually isn't that many options.
So obviously they're limited because they buy items and they clearly sell them in bulk. So a lot of the colour theme that they were going for was grey, and we weren't a fan of the grey look. So we didn't go with a lot of their options, and we did stuff ourselves. And that meant that we can obviously choose a lot more different variety of things, but also meant that it was cheaper.
And we had to do a lot of research as well, because you need to check that you're not getting ripped off. You're already getting ripped off because you're buying a new build and you're buying at a premium. But when it came to, for example, carpets, flooring, extortionate. Wardrobes, fitted wardrobes, extortionate.
Yeah. Especially because we then did the IKEA hack, and it's just a third of the price.
Yeah, when we chose upgrades, we chose kitchen counters, kitchen cupboards. We got full tiling done in one of the bathrooms. We got half tiling done in the others. We chose some tiles, got some plumbing done, and added some sockets where we needed to. Everything else we did ourselves. So they gave us an estimated completion date of 31st of March 2023. And we've heard that developers are always late, things go wrong, winter comes around and they can't do things. So honestly, we weren't expecting to actually get the house on 31st of May. And they said, oh, we'll let you know 2 weeks before your estimated completion date and let you know that your house will be ready. So here we are in Sheffield doing our thing, didn't think much of it.
And we were just thinking that it's just going to get delayed and not expecting anything to happen. But Sariha then got a bit
agitated. I got really agitated. I'm like, okay, let me just call them, because they haven't called us and it's 2 weeks before our estimated completion date. Let me just check. They'll just tell us, okay, it's going to get delayed for, June, July or whatever. Called them and they were like, oh, your house will be ready in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
When were they planning to call us?
I know, we were just like, wait, we need to pack everything.
So when we got the call that the house is going to be ready in 2 weeks, literally panic mode started, because we had to call the sofa company to make sure the sofa gets delivered a few days. We had to basically timeline everything out. So
first thing, the carpet needed to go in before the sofas came in.
So that was crazy, because of course they had to also order the carpet and the flooring from Germany, I think.
Yeah.
So that took us some time, and Bellway wouldn't let them in, and there was a constant back and forth, even the blinds.
Yeah.
So we obviously were in Sheffield, so we got someone local he was amazing to come in to measure all the windows. Obviously, Bellway provided us with a window measurement, but you had to get it completely right. They wouldn't let him in. We finally got him to come in. Then, of course, we wanted white blinds everywhere, but the bathrooms had to match, and we didn't know what the bathroom looked like, what the tiles would look like.
He knew before us.
He saw our house before we saw the house.
Yeah.
And he basically chose the blinds for the bathrooms, and they matched perfectly.
Really good.
So finally, when we got them in, they literally did all the measurements. And once we got the key, I think the next day, we got the key. So where obviously that they gave us a date on when you're going to get the key, you're waiting around. So because we were in Sheffield, we came and stayed at my friend's house who lived a few minutes away. The lawyer said, we'll call you when all the legal documents have been completed and things like that, and then you can go and collect the key. Waiting around, we're working and things like that. We got the call around 4 p.m. It was so late. So we got the key, my friend came with us, we took a whole photo shoot outside the house just because we wanted those pictures, and honestly it's the pictures you see everywhere. And we got the keys, and the first thing we had to do was, okay, what happens next? What happened next? So we stayed at my friend's house so we can let the floor people in, the fitters in to do the flooring. Honestly, it was the most hectic first week because
I think a lot of.
Do you remember the banister?
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
A lot of the stress was added because Sariha wanted to have a stair runner and have the whole banister staircase painted and everything like that, and we needed to do that before they came and fitted in our flooring.
Yeah.
And it was long nights.
It was that day. Day we got the key. We literally got the key, walked in, started painting. We had to do 2 or 3 coats. The next day, they were coming to do the flooring.
Exactly.
We were working until 4 a.m. to get this flooring done. Honestly, it was so crazy, but it was worth it because literally within 2 days of getting the keys, we had carpet, flooring. What else did we have? And blinds.
Yeah.
Carpet, flooring, and blinds were done.
And then the following day, we had the beds getting delivered. So it was very efficient. We did it very well.
Within a week, we had all of the furniture in, but obviously the next part was building the furniture. And this is when all of our amazing friends helped. They literally came for a weekend and helped us build all the beds, all the furniture. And literally a week or 2 later, we had a whole family coming in.
It was Eid, a few weeks later. So.
A few weeks later, it was Eid. We had family coming from Somerset, Sheffield to see the house for the first time. And we wanted all the furniture in. I had unrealistic goals, but we somehow made it happen. And every single room was furnished and everything was ready. Also, because it's our first home, we had to buy everything from cutleries to plates to microwaves to white goods. Bins. Bins are so expensive. Do you remember how much it was? Honestly. Yeah, it was a process, but it was definitely worth it. We really enjoyed it. Did you enjoy it?
I think one thing was after we did that mad rush for the Eid big celebration coming, it was Eid party, my birthday.
Your niece's birthday.
My niece's birthday.
Housewarming.
It was everything all in one. But after that, we took about a good year just doing nothing.
We literally took a break. We literally stayed in the house and just watched it. We bought a bed for one of the rooms and it took us a year to build it after that.
Yeah, we were just done.
We were done. So that was our house buying process. I hope it was interesting. I hope you learned something. If you have any questions, of course, drop in our comments. I really enjoyed reminiscing. It's been a while. We haven't talked about it.
I do remember my favourite part was like buying all the stuff for the house.
Yeah.
Because that was just nice shopping and checking out everything. It was stressful.
Yeah.
But it was good. Now that we've done it, we've got everything. If we do buy another house, it's not going to be as difficult, I think. But we don't plan on moving anytime soon.
For a long time. But yeah, we really enjoyed it. And we do recommend if you can afford to buy a home, do it. But don't make it so overwhelming. Take it in steps. Think about it and just enjoy it because you're not going to get that moment again.
So I hope you enjoyed our house buying process. If you do have any questions, add them in the comment section below and we'll catch you in the next one.
Peace.